Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Punaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. May Brahman protect us. May Brahman guide us. May Brahman give us strength and right understanding. May love and harmony be with us all. Om peace, peace, peace. The subject today is the 4 yogas in daily life. Yoga means union with God. Our challenge is how to bring God into our lives, this union with God in this world of ours. When you look at the world, at our reality, what does it consist of? Is it what we hear? Is it what we see? What is the reality? Yes, it is what we perceive through the senses, but also what we think. What we think about is a very big part of our reality. Suppose you are working in the kitchen and you open a cabinet, and then you think, well, I close the door later. When I finish, in 5 minutes, finish with the spices, I put them back. Then you forget all about it, and you come back and you hit your head against the door. So you have several options there. You can be philosophical about it and scratch your head and continue working as if nothing happened. You can curse your door, this damn door. Or you can bow down to the door and say, yes, you taught me a lesson. Now, the door is there. It's just a door. And we project all these things. We can be indifferent to it, we can curse it, or we can bow down and say, you taught me a lesson, to the door. So what I mean to say is, our reality is very relative. There's an empirical reality we all perceive, and seems to be the same to everybody. But then there is the reality of our interpretation of this empirical reality. So when you talk about the yogas of Vedanta, the yogas take into account both aspects of reality, what we perceive through the senses and also what we think. And in fact, in Vedanta, what we think is more important. That is, the focus is on our thoughts, more than the empirical experience that we have. So these 4 yogas, they encompass the whole of experience, both physical world and mental world. And you all know the 4 yogas. Jnana Yoga is philosophical inquiry. Raja Yoga is self-control. And then Karma Yoga is selfless action. And Bhakti Yoga is devotion to God. Now, how to practice them in our daily life? That is a challenge. One frequent complaint about Vedanta is it is too theoretical. It is very high philosophy, but when it comes to practicing in daily life, we don't have very specific instructions as to what to do. So what can we do in our daily life to put into practice these 4 yogas? So we'll see some suggestions today. Anybody can come up with any ideas as to what way we can practice the yogas. Today we're going to look at some disciplines. So how to practice Jnana Yoga? The answer would be Swadhyaya, study of the scriptures daily. That will be our Jnana Yoga. How to practice Raja Yoga, tapas, austerity. We will do some austerity every day. how to practice karma yoga, seva, selfless service, how to practice bhakti yoga, dhyana, meditation on God. So these are the 4 disciplines we'll see today as means to practice the 4 yogas in our daily life. Let's begin with swadhyaya, or jnana. Why do we put it first? Well, first we need to know. We need to get the ideas. It all starts with thinking. What do I want to do with my life? So jnana yoga, the scriptures will tell us, this is what you will get. If you are interested, do it. If you are not interested, don't do it. But first we have to know. So thinking comes first. Then Raja Yoga, self-control. You train yourself to become a fit instrument in God's hands. Then Karma Yoga. Once you have known about God and trained yourself, you can serve others with the right attitude. And then Bhakti Yoga. Once you have served others, your ego is lessened to a great extent, and you can love God. So let's start with Swadhyaya. Swadhyaya means study of the scriptures. And the scriptures means any spiritual book that will take us to God. It's not just for the sake of learning something new. We want guidance. We want inspiration from the scriptures. So we should read such books that will give us guidance and inspiration. It can be from any tradition, but we should get some inspiration and some guidance. Suppose you want to go somewhere you've never been to before. What do? You get in your car and then Google Maps. You enter the address and Google Maps will take you there. So we need directions to go to God. We want to go to God. Where is God? The scriptures will tell you. And they will tell you also how to get there. Suppose you buy a new appliance. It's a new gadget. You are not familiar with it. You open the package. The first thing you will read is, please read the instructions manual before operating. Otherwise you'll break it. So we need instruction manual for any gadget. And we need also instructions to reach God. So we get this. How to live a spiritual life? Well, the scriptures will tell you. This is how you live a spiritual life. This is how you should behave to become a spiritual person. So you will find that all religions stress this. If you are a Christian, they say read the Bible or other scriptures. If you are a Muslim, read the Quran. If you are a Hindu, read the Gita. There is always a stress on reading the scriptures. Why? Because we'll get these 2, guidance and inspiration. But there is another dimension to Swadhyaya. We have to try to put into practice what we study every day. If I read something about humility, and then I close the book and I'm very arrogant, there is not much point. So it has to make an impact, at least temporarily, at least what I read today. Forget about yesterday or a month ago, but at least what I read today, let me try to put it into practice. So in Vedanta, there are 3 words that describe this process of putting into practice. Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana. Shravana means listening or reading. You are getting new ideas. Then Manana, you reflect on them. What do they mean? Do they apply to me? Can I benefit from it? How should I practice these ideas? And finally, Nididhyasana. Okay, this idea which was in the book or was on YouTube, now I have assimilated into my own life. It went from the book to my personality. It has become part of me. It wasn't part of me before, and now I have assimilated that. That is Nididhyasana. So this is the progression. You hear, you reflect, and you assimilate. To give you an example, Sri Ramakrishna says again and again, God alone is real, and the world is unreal. So you imagine when you read for the first time that idea. It sounds strange, at least from a Western perspective. Everybody tells me that the world is real, and my own experience tells me that the world is real. And here is Sri Ramakrishna saying, God alone is real, and the world is unreal. So I hear it for the first time. And then I begin to think about it. What did he mean by that? How is it possible that the world is unreal when it appears to be so real? But then, with experience, we begin to really find that, yes, Sri Ramakrishna is right. There are so many hints that the world is unreal. Just a few days ago, I was talking with a devotee after many years. And he told me, Swami, I still have the shawl you gave me. And I couldn't help looking surprised. I said, really? Did I give you a shawl? I have forgotten about it completely. He said, yes, Swami, you gave me a shawl. Okay, yes, I have forgotten, sorry. If the day when I gave him the shawl many years ago, he would have told me, Swami, after a few years you will not remember this, I would have thought you are crazy. It is real, it is happening. I am giving it to you. How can I forget? Well, I forgot. And we all do. Something or other we forget. So it happened, it's real, and I forgot. How real is it? Another example is, you have countless examples. Somebody falls in love, they get married, and, they say, oh, you are my life, you are my everything. After a few years, divorce. I hate you, I can't stand you. It was real. Now it is unreal. So you have countless examples. So what did Sri Ramakrishna mean by God alone is real, the world is unreal? It's up to us to find out. But this is manana, this is reflecting on what you read. And then nididhyasana. Maybe the day will come when you experience the reality that God is. And compared to that experience, you can say the world is unreal. Because God is such like a hyper-reality. It's a heightened state of awareness of reality that compared to that, the world is unreal. So it went from the book where I read that statement to my own experience. It has been assimilated. So that is the advantage of swadhyaya. You read, but you try to practice. You try to practice, and it becomes part of you. There is something similar in psychology. They call it the 4 stages of competence. I'll go through it very briefly. The first one is unconscious incompetence. I don't know that I am ignorant. So then there is no hope, because I don't know how ignorant I am. So how can I improve? How can I change? Now, to give you an example that everybody can understand. Suppose I like to go dancing, and I go dancing with my friends regularly. But I am terrible. I don't know dancing, but I like to dance. So one day, somebody decides to tell me, look, you are no good. You have to take some dancing lessons. And I go like, what? We have been dancing for so long? I brush it aside. Then I go to the other friends because it's bothering me. And I said, look, so-and-so said that my dancing is no good. And they say, yeah, you have to do something about it. We didn't want to tell you, but yes. So first, it was unconscious incompetence. I don't know that I don't know. But now, everybody's telling me the same thing. So the light goes on in my brain, and I think, oh, wait, everybody is telling me the same thing? So then I should take some dancing lessons, and I should work on it. And my teacher says, yes, you need definitely some dancing lessons, and we start the training. So now it is conscious incompetence. I know that I don't know. I can do something about it. I know I have that problem. So that is a big, big step forward. That now I know I don't know. The third stage is conscious competence. I am making a deliberate effort to get better because I know I need training. So I work very hard. I go to the classes and I try to learn new styles, etc. I am making progress. I can see my progress. I am making a conscious effort to improve. It is conscious competence. And the final stage is unconscious competence. One day the teacher tells me, you have learned everything. Don't come anymore. You are an expert dancer. So now I know that the training is over. And I cannot even if I want to forget dancing, I cannot. Even if I want to take a false step, I cannot. It is inbuilt in me that when the music goes on, I will dance perfectly. So I'm unconscious. It becomes part of me. It has become natural. So you go from not knowing how ignorant you are to the point of being naturally endowed with whatever quality you wanted to learn. It has become natural to you. So this is the same thing. Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana. First you hear something. Somebody tells you, to give you an example, something that happened to me recently. Last year I went to India, and so I visited several centers. In one center, the Swami told me, can you sing a song in the shrine? I said, sure. So I sang a song. And the Swami said, that was very nice, but why do you sing in such a low pitch? So I said, Maharaj, I have been singing like this for so many years, like 30 years. He said, no, somebody has to guide you. You're singing in a very low pitch. I just brushed it aside. Then I went to Belur Math, and Durga Puja was coming up. And the brahmacharis, they get together in the evening and they practice the songs for Durga Puja. So again, they told me, Swami, can you sing a song? And for them, it's interesting. A Western Swami is singing Indian bhajans. So I said, sure. The moment I started, they said, no, that's too low. And I thought, oh, okay, let me go one key up. No, that's too low. Okay. So I had to strain myself to sing in a higher pitch. And then the next day, the same thing happened. Swami, we cannot join you. You have to sing at a higher pitch. Then I realized, okay, for 30 years I have been singing too low. But I was ignorant. I was ignorant. And then the time came, the place came when I should be made aware. And then I realized, okay, they must have a point. I mean, I think I'm singing very comfortably, but nobody can join me. So when I came back to St. Louis, I could have said, okay, well, I'll go my way because this is what I do, and whoever likes it, fine. Who doesn't like it, fine. But instead of that, I went through the whole songbook, and I tested how high can I go for each song. And I changed. And I'm still trying to change, to sing in a higher pitch. Sometimes I have to strain myself. But the point is, if they are right and I'm wrong, I should be able to acknowledge it and try to change. So we all have these blind spots. We all have this ignorance about things big and small. So this swadhyaya, this study every day, we get new ideas from the scriptures. We question this reality. We question our own personality, our own thinking. And we can change that way. So that is Jnana Yoga. How to practice it? Well, this is one possibility. Study the scriptures every day. Second one is how to practice Raja Yoga. And we said is tapas, or austerity. Because Raja Yoga deals mostly with self-control. So if you say psychic control, how to practice it in daily life is very difficult. But self-control we can practice. So what do we mean by that? Tapas means heat. When you heat something, that is the word they use in Sanskrit. So the analogy is, when you heat something up, the impurities are burned. So suppose you have a gold ornament, and it is dirty. So you remove the dust with a cloth, and now it is nice and shiny. It is clean. Now suppose the gold ornament was buried in the ground, and you dig it up. Now it's full of mud. So the cloth will not do. You use some water, and you wash it off. Now suppose the dirt got into the gold when it was being, the alloy was being made for the ornament. How do you remove that dirt? It is in the gold, it is in the alloy. So you have to heat it up and separate the impurities through that heat. So the idea is, in our minds, there are lots of undesirable things that are embedded, just like the impurities in the gold ornament. You have to heat it up to be able to separate the impurities from the gold. So to get rid of all the undesirable things in our minds, we need to do some tapas. We need to heat up the mind to be able to separate these impurities and get rid of them. So what could be an austerity that we can practice every day? And also austerity sounds so bad. Like, why should I have to practice austerity? Life is difficult enough as it is. Perhaps austerity is not a good word. A better word would be training. We need to train ourselves. We are always hoping that our guru will train us, then somebody will train us, but sooner or later we have to come to the understanding that is up to us. We have to train ourselves. Even the Swamis, we get a chance. When we are novices, we go to India, we have a 2-year training course. So they try their best. At the end of it, they say, okay, now you continue your own training. We have sacrificed 2 years of your working life in the monastery. You have left the monastery for 2 years and done no work at all, stayed here for training, so we did our part. Now it's up to you. You continue your own training. It's not over after 2 years, but we have done our part. Now you train yourself. So how to train ourselves? That would be Raja Yoga in daily life, tapas. So we have to find out some way to train ourselves. So when they say austerity, sometimes it means fasting or observing silence or being alone. But actually it can be anything. Tapas can be anything. Sometimes in our order we speak about this like jokingly. Sometimes the head of center may be a tough person, and somebody says, so were you with this head of center? Were you posted with him? Yes, I was with him 20 years. Oh, you have done a lot of tapas. That means you have been living with a difficult person for 20 years. You have done a lot of austerity. It's a kind of in a jokingly we say that. So anything can be tapas. If you live with a difficult person, then living with others will be easy because you have gone through that training. So how to train ourselves? We have to find what works for us. So the idea is, through some type of hardship, we grow spiritually. And we should embrace this hardship that comes into our lives. In the Gita, it's mentioned that there are 3 types of happiness that we find in this world. Tamasic, Rajasic, Sattvic. So what is tamasic? It's very destructive. It's very dark. Maybe an example would be substance abuse. People can destroy their own lives. They can even, rob their parents to get the drugs. So the mind is as if destroyed. So that would be tamasic happiness. They're getting something from it. They're getting some kind of joy, but it's very destructive. It destroys the person and it destroys the people around them. Tamasic. Then Rajasic means ordinary. We all understand. Sense enjoyment. You have a piece of candy and you enjoy it. You have 10 pieces of candy and you're miserable. So that is, in the Gita it is said, it starts very sweet and ends bitter. So even, you don't need any training for that. Even a baby, you give them a piece of candy, they will enjoy. If you put them before the TV with some cartoons, they will watch. You don't have to teach them, this is how to watch the cartoons. Immediately they will be hooked. So this is the ordinary type of happiness that we all enjoy. It doesn't require any hardship. And then the spiritual type of happiness, sattvic, it's bitter in the beginning and is sweet in the end. So when we speak about Raja Yoga, this tapas, it has to do with that. We are training ourselves. We are going willingly through some hardship. But in the end, we will be so pleased with ourselves that we have done it. Starts bitter, ends very sweet. So suppose we are living a sedentary life. I have become a couch potato. And one day I say, okay, I need to change this. Let me go to the gym. So I join the gym and I go. And I try to be very careful because I'm not used to it. So I exercise very carefully the first day. But even then, the next day I cannot move. I am stiff. Everything is aching. Why? I'm not used to going to the gym. After many years I'm going, so all my muscles are aching. So then, after a few days, you go again to the gym. And then again. After a couple of months, you don't ache anymore. Then after a few years of going to the gym, if you don't go, the body feels out of whack. There is something wrong. You need to go. The body is telling you, you need to go to the gym. Something's missing. You feel very soft. So you have to go to the gym and exercise. We will feel the need to go. First, we had to force ourselves. Now, we cannot help going. It has become second nature. So this is the kind of spiritual happiness. You train yourself, and then you can enjoy the results. In anything worthwhile that we do in our lives, you will find that behind it there is great training and hardship. Any new skill requires a lot of training and hardship. So spiritual life is not different. So basically, we have to look for opportunities to practice some kind of austerity in our lives. You have to find for yourself, what will be my austerity? One could be that I will set up a routine and I will try to follow it as much as possible. This is my austerity. I will get up every day, 5 a.m. in the morning. That's all. That's my only austerity in this life. But in the beginning, it may be very hard. You are used to getting up late in the morning. So the first day, it will be like a torture. You are falling asleep all the time. Second day, still a torture. After a couple of months, okay, I think I can do it. 5 a.m. every day. After a few years, you don't need an alarm clock. You get up in the morning, your mind is fresh, relaxed, you can meditate. That is an austerity. So find out some kind of hardship. Put yourself through some kind of hardship. That will be your Raja Yoga. So next is Karma Yoga. We said that we can practice in our daily life through seva, or serving others. Now it seems to be very straightforward. There is nothing to explain here. How to practice Karma Yoga? Be unselfish, do things for others. But it's not so straightforward. The stress should be on our intention, on our thinking. Service to others, anybody can do. There are many examples of criminals who were very charitable, did a lot of unselfish work. They say that Al Capone opened a soup kitchen in Chicago. Still he went to prison, but he fed many people during the Great Depression. 3 meals a day, it's a historical thing. He was Al Capone. So one journalist, they say, he wrote that Al Capone, he feeds you with one hand and he kills you with the other. Because he's a criminal. But he was doing good work. But his intention probably was to wash his name, to become popular in society. Another example is Bernie Madoff, that conman who ruined so many people's lives. They lost all their savings. He was very philanthropic. He was in many, many institutions doing philanthropic work. And then he ruined those very institutions when everything blew up, all the scheme and all the illegal things he was doing. So these people, supposedly, they were doing good work, serving others, but their motives were not right. So it's not as easy as saying, okay, I'm doing things for others, so this is karma yoga. No. What is the intention? What is the motive? Once, two ladies were having a heated argument at the Vedanta Society. And the Swami came and said, why are you arguing? You think you have come to the Vedanta Society to do service and get good karma. And you are fighting, you are creating bad karma. You are disturbing the peace of the monastery. Better stay at home. Your karma will be better at home than coming. So you think, I'm going to church, I'm going to the service, it will be good karma. But then you end up quarreling, and it ends up being bad karma. So Swami Vivekananda said, true unselfishness, everybody appreciates that. In all religions you will find that unselfishness is appreciated. Even the atheist will respect the unselfish person. They will bow down to the unselfish person. Okay, I don't believe in God, but you are sacrificing yourself for others. They will respect. Everybody respects the unselfish person. So how to know if we are sincere? How can we find out? There are three things that we can check. One is, do we have shraddha? Do we have faith and love for what we are doing? What is our motive? In the Gita, Sri Krishna says, whoever offers me a leaf, a flower, a fruit, or water, I accept that. But it has to be offered with love. So that is the condition. Even a beggar can afford these things. Who can say, oh, I don't have a glass of water to offer to God? I don't have a flower. Anybody can find these things. So what is the condition that Sri Krishna puts? It has to be done with love. It is the love that matters. Remember that story that Sri Ramakrishna tells about the Zemindar who has vast properties and is visiting one of his properties. It's a mango orchard. And he's resting in the parlor, and then one of his many gardeners enters, and he's standing there diffidently with something in his hand. So this Zemindar asks, hello, what do you have there? And he says, sir, this is for you, and gives him a mango. And the Zemindar says, oh, what a fine mango. Did you save it for me? Yes, sir, I saved it for you. This is wonderful. Thank you so much. So the Zemindar is so touched by the gift. But when you think about it, it is his own orchard. Every mango tree belongs to him. Every mango belongs to him. And this guy is giving him his own mango. Why is he so happy? It's because of the love behind the gift. He thought about him. So it is, we cannot give anything to God. We cannot serve others. We cannot make any difference, really speaking. But we do it with love. And because we do it with love, it is accepted. Because we do it with love, it makes a difference. Otherwise, it doesn't. So, if you serve with love, you will be okay. Second, humility. We need to be humble when we are serving others. Otherwise, there will always be some conditions that, oh, I will do this, but I will not do that. I will do this much, but not even one little bit more. We have to have the humility to say, I am a servant. A servant cannot put conditions. They cannot be picky. The boss says do this, and they have to do that, or they lose the job. So we have to have that attitude of humility. Swamiji said, you cannot really help others. You can only help yourself. Whenever you are serving others, you are serving yourself. Why? Because we are one. Appearing as many, but we are all one being. There's a nice story that Joseph Campbell tells. He was a writer, and he wrote about many religions. So he tells a true story that happened in Hawaii in the 80s. So 2 cops were driving their car early in the morning in a tourist spot where people would go up the mountains to see the landscape. But also is a place where people used to go to jump and commit suicide. So they see early in the morning a guy who is about to jump. So they drive very quickly. One cop jumps out of the car and runs to the man and catches hold of him. But the man, just at that time, he jumped. So he's holding on to him, and both are falling. So just in the nick of time, the second cop reaches the spot and grabs hold of the first policeman, and both of them are pulled back to safety. So this story made it to the news at the time, and they interviewed the first policeman. So the journalist asked him, why did you not let go? The man jumped and he took you with him. You kept holding on to him. So you will both die. Why didn't you let him go? So the answer is very interesting. He said, I don't know why, but I felt that if I let go of him, I cannot live another day of my life. I just cannot. So Joseph Campbell says, this is like a metaphysical breakthrough. At that fraction of a second, he feels this connection. If he dies, it is as if I die. I cannot live if he dies. So it's like the veil is rent, is broken apart just for a fraction of a second. You can see that unity there. He's going, I'm going. He forgot about his family. He forgot about his career. He forgot everything, all his dreams and hopes, desires, everything is gone. He's willing to let everything go. How is it possible? He sees himself there in the other person. So the point is, we have to be humble because we are one. We are helping ourselves, really speaking. We cannot help others. We only help ourselves. So the third test of true service is detachment. I do it, I don't want anything in return. One of our Swamis used to tell, normally people want to get as much as they can and give as little as possible. So he used to tell the brahmacharis, you should give as much as you can and take as little as possible, just the opposite. So detachment means, I want to serve, I don't want to take. If you want to give, that's fine, but it's not I don't have this grabbing attitude that I want to take. No, I want to give, and there it ends. I am detached. So that is a very important point to remember. There's a funny story that our Swamis tell in India. Uro koi govindaya namaha. So what does it mean? There was a man selling puffed rice in the street. And there was a customer, and he's pouring the puffed rice from the container to the paper cone to give it to the customer. Just as he's doing that, the wind blows the puff corn away. So everything is gone. So the man says, Govindaya namaha, uro koi Govindaya namaha. It means the flying puffed rice I offer to Govinda. I offer to God. Why did he say that? There is a reason. So he was going to get money from that puffed rice. Now he's not going to get any money. It is still flying up in the air. So while it is still clean and unspoiled, let me offer it to God, and I will get some merit from that. So Govindaya Namaha. Very calculating. The moment it falls to the ground, it is wasted. So while it is flying, Govindaya Namaha. Let me get something from it. It shouldn't be a complete loss. So that is an example of calculating when we do seva or an offering. So let us not be like that. If it is gone, it's gone. We don't care about the result. So that is how to practice Karma Yoga daily. Apparently, Karma Yoga is very straightforward, but as you can see, it's not so straightforward. The main thing is our motives, our intention, and how we do the service. All these things will make a big difference to determine whether it is true Karma Yoga or is something else, or is a transaction. Maybe we are just doing a transaction and we think we are doing something for God. That is what we have to keep in mind. Finally, Bhakti Yoga. Bhakti should be easy, right? Sri Ramakrishna said, Bhakti is for this age, is the easiest path. But there is a danger of misunderstanding Sri Ramakrishna. He never said Bhakti is easy. He only said it's comparatively easier. But actually, Bhakti is very difficult. Any yoga is difficult. Sometimes people say, oh, Bhakti, that's very easy. You just offer some flowers and pray to God and sing some bhajans. And what is there special in Bhakti? No. Sri Ramakrishna spoke of Vaidhi Bhakti and Raga Bhakti. Vaidhi Bhakti means I will do so much worship, I will do so much this and that, I will sing so many songs. So I deliberately make an effort to develop Bhakti. Raga Bhakti means I fall in love with God and I think of God all the time. That is very difficult to achieve. So we are all trying to practice Vaidhi Bhakti. Just we are trying to cultivate some kind of devotion to God. But love is far away. We call ourselves devotees of God. So why? Because we are devoted to God. So there is a difference between being in love with somebody and being devoted to somebody. You can be devoted to somebody and maybe you will forget all about them if you don't see them. Still you are devoted to them. But if you fall in love with somebody, you cannot forget them. So there's a big difference. We are devotees. We are trying to love God. So why is Bhakti so difficult? It's because God is not something that we can see in this world. So we see people, we see objects, but we don't see God. How can we love that which we cannot see? St. John said in the Bible, if a person does not love their brother whom they have seen, how are they to love God whom they have not seen? So we have to start by loving what we see. And gradually, we will love what we cannot see. So how to love what we see? Well, you study the scriptures, Jnana Yoga. You train yourself, Raja Yoga. You serve others, Karma Yoga. So all these things will help us deal with what we see, this world. And gradually we will be fit to love what we cannot see. So how to practice Bhakti Yoga and develop love for what we cannot see? Dhyana. Dhyana is the way to practice Bhakti Yoga in daily life. It means meditation. And I would add Smarana also, remembrance. These two, meditation and remembrance, is the way to practice Bhakti Yoga. So normally you would have thought of Bhakti Yoga worship and singing and dancing. No. Real Bhakti, the real deep connection with God will come through meditation and remembrance. When you love somebody, you are not telling them all the time, I love you, I give you this, I give you that. You love them. When it is deep love, you don't have to do much. It is a deep connection, and the other person will feel that connection. So, smarana and dhyana, remembrance and meditation. Let's start with remembrance. Sri Ramakrishna used to say, do all your duties in the world, but keep your mind on God. That would be smarana, remembering God. It's a very powerful discipline. It is said that even Kamsa, who was all the time thinking about means to kill Krishna, he was liberated. Why? Because he was thinking of God all the time. He wants to kill God, but still, as a result of his deep thinking on God, he was liberated. So even a person who hates God, if they think of God, they will be liberated. So it's a very powerful discipline. And you know, one very nice example of remembrance is Brother Lawrence in the Christian tradition. He was a son of peasants, very little education, and he joined the army just to have some regular meals, I guess. He was very poor. And then when he was 18, he had an awakening. He saw a tree in the winter without any leaves, and immediately the thought came to him that this very tree will have leaves and flowers and fruits in the summer. That is God's power will make it happen. And that awakening changed his life. And he became a lay brother in a monastery, and he was asked to work in the kitchen. Now you can remember this must have been maybe 17th century France. Yeah, the kitchen must have been very hot, noisy, crowded, and he didn't like it at all. He said that he had a natural aversion to that work. But he, through remembrance of God, he said he came to such a state that they had to go for prayer in their cells at specific times, but he didn't feel the need because he didn't see any difference between working in the kitchen in all that noise and chaos and sitting in his cell praying. He didn't feel any difference at all. Why? Because he had this habit of remembering God all the time. So it doesn't matter what he's doing. He's thinking of God all the time. He called it the practice of the presence of God. It's a little small booklet about it, the practice of the presence of God. So that is an example of how a person achieves perfection through remembrance. He didn't practice dhyana, he practiced smarana, remembering God all the time. Sri Ramakrishna stressed both. You will find in his teachings that sometimes he talks about meditation, sometimes he talks about remembrance. When somebody asked him where to meditate, he said, Bone, Kone, Mone, which means in the forest, in a quiet corner, in your mind. So what does it mean, in the forest? He said, when you get a chance, leave everything behind, your family, your work, your phone, everything, and retire. Maybe go for a month, a week, a day, whatever, and think that only you and God exist and nothing else, and pray to God. That is in the forest. The second possibility is, okay, if that is not possible, if you cannot withdraw yourself completely, find a quiet corner in your house and use that place for meditation. That will be Kone, meditate in a quiet place in your house. And if even that is not possible, suppose you are working in the office and there is so much going on, you cannot say, hey, I want a room for my meditation. So what to do in that situation? Mone, meditate in your mind. When you meditate in your mind, you can be anywhere. You can be in the office, you can be walking in the street, but you are meditating. That is smarana, that is remembrance, when you are meditating in your mind. It cannot be meditation because real meditation has more strict requirements. But smarana has no requirements. You can do it anywhere, at any time, and nobody will know. It's just between you and God. So that is remembrance as a way to practice bhakti. The second discipline is dhyana, meditation. This is more intense. So when to meditate? Sri Ramakrishna said, you can meditate anytime, but best is dusk and dawn, when the day starts and when the night starts. These two times nature is quiet and is more conducive to meditation. Then how to meditate? Are you to sit in a specific way? Yes. It's called asana. Patanjali says, stira sukham asanam. Asana is that which is steady and comfortable. So how to meditate? You should be steady and comfortable. That is the only condition. You don't need the full lotus and to strain your poor knees. But it has to be steady and comfortable. If you lie down, too comfortable, you can fall asleep. That is no good. Too comfortable is not good. If you stand up and try to meditate, you may fall down. You will be always worried about your balance, and so it's too unstable. Standing up is too unstable. Lying down is too comfortable. So sitting is a compromise. You are steady and you are comfortable at the same time. So sit comfortably in a chair, on the floor, whatever works for you. Then the next step for meditation is pranayama, control of the breath. It doesn't mean that you have to go deep into this discipline. It just means rhythmic, deep breathing. At the beginning of, when you sit to meditate, try to breathe a little deeper and more rhythmic. If your breathing is disturbed and very irregular, you cannot meditate. You need to quiet down. How to quiet down? Breathe regularly and deeply. That will be pranayama, not more than that. Then pratyahara is the next step of meditation. Withdrawing the mind from the senses. You don't want to hear anything, you don't want to see anything, you don't want to say anything. You are withdrawing the powers of the mind so that they can be focused on something else. Otherwise, the powers are all over the place. In Zen, there is something similar. They call it a non-technique. There is no technique. You have to sit and do nothing. That is the Zen way. So don't see, don't hear, don't think. Don't think about the past, don't think about the future. Just do nothing. It sounds very easy, but it's not. You have to be very alert at the same time because you cannot think of anything. You have to be in the now. Just be in the now. So one example given is how alert you have to be. You have to be as alert as a person who is riding a horse at full speed and suddenly they fall down from the saddle and they're about to hit the ground and they're just in that condition. That is your state of alertness. What is the person who is in that condition going to hit the ground? What are they thinking of? Nothing. They're not thinking of the past or of the future. They're not seeing, they're just there. Hyper alert because they're going to hit the ground at full speed. So that should be the state of alertness. You are not thinking of anything. You are not perceiving anything. You are just there, just hanging there. So that is a Zen way to practice. Vedanta says just withdraw your mind from all perceptions. And then comes the higher stages of meditation. Dharana, dhyana, samadhi. Concentration, meditation, illumination. These are the higher stages of meditation. So how to explain that? It is said that when you think about something, there are three components. Artha, Shabda, Jnana. Artha means the object. Suppose you think of a rose and you see the form of a rose. And with that form of a rose, the name comes, rose. And with that name and form comes the knowledge that, oh, I know it is a flower. And I know all the things that can be done with a rose and what it means to be a rose. So these are the three components in all our thinking. The object, the form, the sound or name, and the meaning or knowledge about that object. Now the idea is, when you are a devotee, you are given a particular aspect of the Godhead as your ideal. It may be Krishna, it may be Kali, it may be Jesus. And you are given a mantra. And you are told to meditate on that form and to repeat that mantra. So you have the form and you have the name. And that is our meditation for most of us. But there is something missing. You have the name, you have the form. What is the meaning? When you say Ramakrishna, what do you mean? You can picture the image. You can repeat the mantra. But what? I wouldn't say who. I would say what. What is Ramakrishna? What is Jesus? What is the meaning behind that form and that sound? We don't know. We think we know, but we don't. So it's a very mysterious thing. It's very mystical. So Bhakti Yoga is this effort in our daily life to focus our minds on this reality called Ramakrishna, called Jesus. How to focus on that? Well, you have a form, you have a name, find out the meaning. So it is said that in the higher stages of meditation, the name and the form are left behind, and only the meaning remains. So you know what Jesus is. You become one with Jesus. You become one with Sri Ramakrishna. That is why you will find in the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, he goes into samadhi. He becomes motionless. Then he comes down and he says, oh, I want to tell you what I experienced. And he goes again into samadhi. Then he comes back and says, oh, I'm trying very hard, but then I cannot. The moment I try to describe it, I go into samadhi. So he says, it is impossible for me to convey the meaning to you. It is impossible. You have to become one with that meaning. You have to become one with that reality. So, this is our life's endeavor. We have a form of God. We have a name for God. What is God? What is the meaning? So the form and the name is all we have. We have to hold on to that. And slowly, the more we practice this meditation, the more our love will grow. So you see, love is nothing superficial. It is not going to the temple and singing bhajans or doing puja. That is one aspect of the external aspect of bhakti. But the real bhakti is deep within us, at the deepest level. It is communion with God. So that is how to practice in our daily life devotion to God. Try to meditate. That's the deepest kind of devotion you can practice. Nobody will know about it. Nobody will praise you for it. You will not get any recognition anywhere. It's just between you and God. You are not doing things outside. You're just sitting and trying to deepen that connection between you and that reality. That is Jesus, that is Sri Ramakrishna, that is Mother Kali. So, we have seen 4 ways that we can practice the 4 yogas in our daily life. We saw that Jnana Yoga perhaps could be practiced through study, swadhyaya. And then Raja Yoga could be practiced through tapas, self-training. And then Karma Yoga through service to others with the right attitude. And finally, Bhakti Yoga through remembrance and meditation. Om Asato Ma Sadgamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Lead us from the unreal to the real. Lead us from darkness to light. Lead us from death to immortality. Om peace, peace, peace be unto all.